morning, everyone. Good to see you. Hey, Liberty. Hey, Tracy. Hey, Stephanie. Hey, Jane. What's happening with my squiggy hair? So, this is something I don't share often because I'm embarrassed by it, except that I'm not. I just forget about it. Welcome aboard, everybody. I am your Kevinly father, Kevin Williams. Good morning, Chris. It's been a minute. Hi, Allison. Since I broadcast, I've been very, very busy and also lazy. No, actually, I haven't been lazy, but this is you see this? This is bad news. This was a trampoline in Africa when I was 7 or 8, could be 9. It was New Year's Day, 19 sloobity blue, and I was jumping on a trampoline at a Holiday Inn in Africa, in Swaziland. Could have not been at a Holiday Inn. I think it was actually at a racetrack. Yeah, it was. We were having a picnic with some family friends from Nigeria, and I did a forward sort of flip on the trampoline, and it was a little bit wet. So I went forward and boom, hit right on the side. And this is before we had invented safety. Those of you who grew up in the 70s remember that. This is before they had invented safety, so there was no padding around the edge of the trampoline, and I hit the metal of the edge, and my skull peeled right back. Good morning, everybody. My video says this video is unavailable on his device. Weird. Chris Wilson says, I think we crashed. Are we here? It looks like we're broadcasting. I think we're working. I'm just putting in the chat room here that I think we're up and running. Hi, Deidre. Good to see you. So anyway, now I have this scar, which has never really bothered anyone before, but now that I'm getting a little bit older and I'm in my hundreds, you can see it's sort of created just as my hairline recedes. There's a little bit of it right there or right there. I can't really see it on camera, but in person, if you ever meet me in person, just come up and stare at my forehead. You'll see where it comes out of the little patch of grass I have right there. Looks like we're working. Okay, good. Thank you. It's just Chris, but Chris is never working. So good morning, everybody. Let's get right into it. I have a little bit of time before I have to get going. To update you, last week I was in Seattle all week and shot a commercial up there. It went very well. And this is sort of a life lesson out of this. I didn't know why I got cast in this commercial. And I remember doing the audition, and I think I told you guys, those of you who are watching that day, I'm not going to get this. Because the director, I did one take over, this is a remote audition, and after the take, the director's like, let's try another one where you're not so over the top, which is typically the kiss of death. Because everything on TV has to be simple. Keep it very simple. Like, okay, all right, your dog's dead, go. Okay, but too much. Bring it down. Really bring it down. Really, really focus it. Okay, do it again. Your dog's dead. Go. No, it's too. It's just let it happen. Just keep it down. Nothing extra. Just let it happen. I can't tell you guys any details about the commercial. I'm not even sure it would be called a commercial. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be used for. I can't say for certain. I imagine that it will be used as a commercial. You never know with some of these things. Then I got back and I had an audition that Kevinly daughter helped me prepare for a TV show. And I don't know whether I can tell you anything about you guys. Anything. It's not a huge TV show, but it's a show on the TV. You can find it somewhere, maybe on one of those extra channels. I don't know. Anyway, I had an audition for that, and that went well. And then after the audition, this is rare. This is the only reason I'm telling you this story is because it's an exception to the rule. It's just because I've done several auditions lately, and it's just, oh, okay, we'll get back to you, or they never do, or they don't say anything. And the guy said, okay, let me tell you how the process goes. We're going to send this tape to the director, and then on Monday, we'll have the auditions. They'll likely be in person. It just depends on what's going on. And I don't want to spoil anything, but you're getting a call back. I'm like, all right. I can handle that. That was nice of them to let me know. That being said, I probably won't get a call back. The guy I did the audition with remotely, he loved me. I don't know if he loved me personally, but he really liked the audition. At one point, I say my line, and I say, I believe this guy is blue. And his line is, it is not, it is red, or whatever. And he's just like kind of watching me on the Zoom window. And I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. He's like, oh, the sky is red. And then after the take, he's like, I'm so sorry. I was watching your acting, and I totally forgot that I had a line there. So he's not getting a call back. Thomas, I guess Thomas figured out it's a commercial for ivermectin. We're doing it in child tablets. It's going to be chewable, 80 milligrams. And it just enough for the kid. Because right now, so many millions of children in this country are left without the ability. Under 12, the FDA is not recommending horse paste for kids. And they're back in school, and we want to protect them, right? And the last thing we want to do is put masks on them so that they're a bunch of faceless strangers in school. God forbid. Because every time I see a child with a mask, they're weeping. And the masks absorb those tears, and those tears are full of microchips from their laptops and their iPads. And then those tears get inhaled. So the masks are more dangerous. It's true. That's how they're tracked. It is. It's actually green apple flavor, Chris. But green apple by itself is sort of sour. So we're coming out with green apple flavor. And they're orange. We got your standard orange, of course. And then there's cherry. Honestly, though, cherry is not cherry flavor. Any medicine that says cherry flavor, it's not cherry flavor. It's something red, but it's not cherry flavor. I've never had a little cough syrup. Oh, thank you, Mom. And then taking a, cherries. Is that a Rainier? That is nice. Okay. Same thing with cherry Slurpees. It's not cherry flavor. It's reminiscence of the color of cherries, but it's not cherry flavor. Let's not kid ourselves. Same thing when you restore a vehicle. It's not cherry. It's just fixed. Go ahead and the next time you're in someone's dad's garage and he's restoring a vehicle, give it a lick. Or in that, what you can also do is just, if he's petting a horse, just give the horse a lick. A sheep, a goat, a mule, an ass, if he happens to be sitting there with Donald Trump Jr., give him a lick.
So here's Fox and Friends.
Let's take a look, kids. This is Spilling COVFEFE, so we don't have any agenda. Later today, I'm hoping, we'll be able to get to Donald Trump's interview with Greg Gutfeld. So we'll watch that later. I've only seen a couple of snippets from it, but I do have the show lined up. I do have it. So we'll take a look. Trump also did an interview with Newsmax a couple of days ago. I think he did a radio interview. He's just out there right now. And raising money for his Save America PAC, which, by the way, is not a presidential campaign. He can pretty much do anything he wants with that money. Let's jump ahead here. Here we go.
Eggs thrown at them.
If this is on the other side, if a white woman wearing a monkey mask threw an egg at a black Democratic candidate.
Yeah, this woman's an idiot. I don't know if you've seen this. But so Larry Elder is running against Gavin Newsom in California. Gavin Newsom might be recalled. It's a ridiculous system, and it's costing the city of California. Speaking of ridiculous, it's costing the people of California about $400 million, plus the time that they have to spend filling out the ballots, taking it to the ballot box, etc. The postage, I don't know what the grand total is, but Newsom, this is a Democratic state with a small d or a big D, whatever. I don't know the difference. Anyway, this woman shows up with a gorilla mask on and throws eggs at Larry Elder, who's probably the leading Republican. First off, no, it's assault. Charge her. She should have been arrested immediately. Secondly, wearing a gorilla mask. I guess it's a good way to disguise yourself, but seriously, guys, if you know who this woman is, let the authorities know. It is not Candace Evans in the mask.
This would be Wall.
But you can, let's go back and
Plane
watch.
with hundreds of people where we don't know who they are. There are reasonable questions.
Larry Elder in his campaign.
So watch her here. This is the woman. Terrible throw, by the way. Just, I mean, embarrassing enough on the face. On the gorilla face of it, this woman should be embarrassed of herself. She's what? 4.5 feet from the back of Larry Elder? She's got this target. Larry Elder, not a small man. You can see the bodyguard behind him, not that much taller. I don't know how tall he is. But this could be Candace Evans or Candace Owens in the mask here, I suppose. Because I don't know who Candace Evans is. The recall is costing $276 million. Some people have estimated $400 million. We'll find out what the final tax bill is, but we won't know in terms of overall cost of time, etc. It didn't take long to fill out the ballot. Most people just marked no. And then you don't have to choose a second candidate. If you are in California, choose your second candidate. I'm endorsing COVFEFE only because, A, his name is Kevin. Two, I can't say his last name. I feel bad for the guy having to always spell out his last name. There are 17 P's and 18 F's in that last name and a couple of Z's, which you Americans are called Z. So that's all happening for that guy every single day of his life. I feel bad for the kid. Give him a vote.
Yeah, had eggs thrown at them.
If this is on the other side of a white...
Yeah, I mean, just way over his head. Not even close. This is like a Fauci opening pitch. This is just embarrassing.
Woman wearing a monkey mask threw an egg at a black
Oh, and then she takes a swipe at somebody, too. For that, she should spend some time in prison.
Democratic candidate. This would be wall-to-wall coverage.
Sorry, she should spend some time in jail, for those of you keeping track. Oh, time to get up, kids. Here we go. We're going to keep going. We're going to power through this.
Just hours from now, President Biden will address the nation on his COVID-19 response plan.
The Biden administration is sowing a lot of mistrust.
We know the plan. Everybody get vaccinated. This is done. We're done with this nonsense. Here's a vaccine. We're all set. Just like Trump was saying for months and months, once we get the vaccine, it'll magically just go away. It'll be a miracle of science. I'm cutting through the red tape. Without me, it would take 9 years. But with me, it's a matter of days. And I'm really pushing the FDA to drop all of their standards and approve this ASAP. We're getting the horse vaccine out as soon as possible. That's the plan. And it's a foolproof plan. Unfortunately, we are a country full of fools.
The reality is that the FDA and CDC have dramatically fallen away from science.
And now we're at a time where, okay, there are no more mean tweets.
So here's Trump with Greg Gutfeld. We'll watch this later.
And we have a really nice president, and the country is in the crapper.
Country's in the crapper? I was unaware of this because I'm really enjoying the country right now. I am very disappointed on a daily basis that I open my front door, no soup cans on the front yard, no bags of soup, no fires in the neighborhood. I haven't seen a fire engine in months. No sirens. I was told Antifa would be taking down the suburbs.
I don't know that he's a nice president, but I can tell you the country has never been more unsafe.
It is my honor, Derek, to welcome you.
Do you guys feel more unsafe? I mean, we did have a country when it was the Wild West and literally everybody carried around a pistol on their hip. And that if you tried to travel between one city and the next, you had to watch out for bandits. I took a trip to Seattle and back. Honestly, no concern for bandits on the way. A lot of concern for people without masks at the airport. No concern for bandits.
Into the Hall of Fame family.
I had one goal during my career. That was to win more than everyone else.
Who is this? Oh, that looks like Derek Jeter. That's got to be Derek Jeter, right? But a few years older than the last time I saw him.
We did.
They usually do a sports highlight as the very last highlight of the thing, and so there's. I hope everyone's vaccinated. I mean, those little girls not wearing masks, they are not vaccinated. This concerns me, but what do I know? Civil War also. You would have to worry about getting shot by one of your countrymen, by a traitor. And now, I'm glad I paused it. I didn't even realize music was playing on this. You would have to watch out for traitors to the country. And then we built statues of Robert E. Lee, who Trump said yesterday was the greatest strategist we've ever had. And in Afghanistan, that war would be over. Fully and completely. That's his favorite phrase. By the way, it's redundant and repetitive. He would fully and completely have a victory in Afghanistan years ago if we had a general like Robert E. Lee. The guy who led the army that attacked the United States. And I can understand why Trump appreciates and associates with him. Let's jump ahead through the music.
They're twins, and their nickname growing up was...
I don't care.
Picture of them really short.
I don't care.
To bring up, too, with Derek Jeter. What does Major League Baseball do?
Oh, it is Derek Jeter.
Flawless speech. I doubt it he's not. It was Jorge Americans. This is big. And other civilians to leave Afghanistan.
Okay, report. Taliban to allow some Americans to evacuate. That's been the case all along. They have been allowing Americans to evacuate. Remember, the United States told Americans to get out starting in March. And then in April, the embassy was issuing, hey, everybody, evacuate. Get out of here. And some people chose to stay and refuse the vaccine. I don't know if they did. But similar situation. I feel badly for those who decided to stick around. But on the other hand, your embassy is saying, get out of the country. I feel badly for unvaccinated people who end up in the ICU. But on the other hand, they're also taking up beds. By the way, this is, you hear about Mississippi, you hear about Florida, you hear about Texas, etc., where we can't get people into the ICU who have actual conditions that they didn't cause themselves, and they're dying because there's no ICU beds. They have to sit in ambulances, etc. Oh no, terrible. It's happening all over the country. I have a good friend of mine who plays a little bit of tennis, and the husband of a hockey friend of mine, and he had not a heart attack, but he had a heart event a couple of months ago. Just about 4 weeks ago, I think. About 6 weeks ago now, whatever it was. Anyway, he was playing tennis, and the people playing tennis with him looked at him. He's a larger man. Looked at him and said, "Dude, you're gray. You don't look well at all. You look like ashen." I don't know if they used the word ashen, but I would have. I would have been so happy to have the opportunity to use the word ashen. I'd be like, "Dude, you're totally ashen. Don't you guys think he's ashen? Guys, ashen? Yes or no? Gray? No. Ashen? Yes or no? Ashen. Yep. Ashen." We're playing doubles, by the way. So there's 3 of them. 2 of them agree with ashen in my vignette. And scene. So my ashen friend goes to the ER, spends 14 hours in the ER with a heart event. Now, they got him back there right away. And they put him in essentially a broom closet. It wasn't a broom, I'm exaggerating. It was smaller than a broom closet. But they got some diodes on him very quickly. But then he had to wait around. I'm sure they drew blood and they checked it for troponin and the other things you have to do with a heart event. But they had him wait around about 14 hours because it was the staff. He didn't get a bed. No lying on a gurney. You just relax. You've had some sort of heart event. None of that. Just sit here and we'll get around to you. So he waited all day at the ER. And then they eventually they gave him a stent in his heart, and he's going to be fine. And he's playing tennis again on Saturday, which is freaking amazing what we can do nowadays. Yeah, this is not just confined to the stupid southern states. And when I say stupid southern states, I mean that with a heart full of hatred. For the idiots who won't get themselves vaccinated.
Afghanistan on charter flights from the Kabul airport.
Right, because yesterday they said they couldn't leave. But this comes after the White House defended its decision not to allow charter flights from
By the way, we don't know that there's any Americans on those charter flights trying to leave. The Taliban is stopping the charter flights, but Secretary Blinken said, was he in Qatar? I think it was in Qatar. He said we don't know of a single American that's trying to get out. Americans, we know for sure, are getting out by land. They're being allowed to drive across the border. Any American who has their paperwork is being allowed out of the country, so far as we know. There may be a few Americans at the airport waiting to leave, but they have not contacted the State Department. Which is weird, right? These are the same people who are probably eating horse paste. I don't know.
Afghanistan to land at U.S. military bases, even though...
By the way, welcome everybody. I am your Kevinly father, Kevin Williams. This is Spilling COVFEFE. There's no agenda here. We're just sitting around. I'm starting my day. I'm wearing my PJs. I'm getting barreled. Thanks to my friend Ray, who sent me that shirt from the Hawaii Islands. Those in the know say Hawaii. But I don't say that to anybody Hawaiian, because then I'm a howlie at that point, and they start howling. Stephanie B just randomly says, Richard, I don't work anymore, so if the snow got bad, it wouldn't be a big bother for us. Just hunker down. Oh, somebody's talking about snow. I hope it's not snowing anywhere, although, boy, that would be a welcome change. It's going to be 95 here today.
They would get stranded Americans out of Afghanistan.
Well, Griff Jenkins joins us live from Washington with the latest. Griff?
Good morning, Ainsley, Steve, Brian. That's right. Reuters is reporting that Taliban authorities have agreed to let some 200 Americans and Afghan nationals depart Kabul airport on charter flights. Unclear if these people are among those stranded in northern Afghanistan, and the administration is defending their handling of the crisis. Watch.
We don't have a role in preventing flights from taking off. We are not on the ground. So a number of these planes, they may have a handful of American citizens. Are we going to allow a plane with hundreds of people where we don't know who they are to land on a U.S. military base?
Now this, as Secretary of State...
And the answer is no. Because first it was, hey, how come you guys aren't staying in Afghanistan? And then, hey, first it was, how come you guys aren't getting out? Because Trump said we would all be out. He made a deal with the Taliban to evacuate by May. And then Biden said, no, we're gonna do it on our own timetable. We're not gonna be held to what the Taliban says. We're gonna do it by the end of August. Everybody out. And then the State Department officially issued 19 warnings to Americans: get out. People didn't. And then the Taliban took over because the Australian army is actually, the Australians were in Afghanistan, and they did a bang-up job, and they lost a ton of soldiers. So I shouldn't even make jokes about the Australians. But that's Cam Air, and I don't even know where it's based, but I love it. I love those colors. It's a little bit, it's the University of Virginia, I think. Or Virginia Tech. I don't know. The same thing. Same university as far as I know.
Blinken, traveling in Germany, is deflecting blame for the Americans stuck on that tarmac in Mazar-e-Sharif.
As of now, the Taliban are not permitting the charter flights to depart. We are working to do everything in our power to support those flights. We've made clear to the Taliban that these charters need to be able to depart.
Meanwhile, Tennessee Congressman Mark Green sent a letter to Secretary Blinken demanding answers over concerns that evacuees being held at a military base are being allowed to use ride-sharing apps to travel freely unaccounted for.
They're letting them leave. They can catch an Uber and actually leave the base. They don't know exactly how many are even there, so they can't account for someone if they don't return.
Oh, yeah, I never even finished where I was going with that. So, yeah, now the Republicans complaining that we're not vetting these Afghans, and they're all terrorists. So, why are you leaving them there? And now it's, why are they here? Why didn't you leave them in Afghanistan? They are being vetted. I don't know about them leaving in Ubers. I'm sure it's nonsense. It's always nonsense. Just like Biden's going to ban beef, I can go down to, even here in liberal California, in this bastion of leftism, I can go down to the In-N-Out and get myself in fact, that sounds like a good idea. All right, guys, we will see you later. Oh, they don't open till 11.
And in a bizarre development, Nidal Hassan, the radical Islamic terrorist who murdered 13 people at Fort Hood in 2009, wrote a letter from death row congratulating the Taliban on their takeover. His attorney...
Why is this news? Terrorist is happy that the Taliban's running Afghanistan. Yeah, right?
Saying in a statement, quote, Hassan is pleased to see that the Biden administration is now seemingly willing to engage with the Taliban as de facto government in Afghanistan.
As Trump did, negotiating an evacuation agreement with them and without the legitimate government of Afghanistan. That's what Trump did. He negotiated a peace agreement saying America will leave militarily by May 1st. We are out of here. Oh, that's not good enough for you guys? You know what? We will also release 5,000 of your prisoners. That's what Trump did. And those 5,000 Taliban are now running Afghanistan. They're the ones riding around in the Humvees that Trump gave Afghanistan.
Now, the president is speaking this afternoon at the White House about COVID-19. We'll see if he takes any questions or has anything to say about the latest in Afghanistan. Brian, Ainsley, Steve?
Well, Griff, we know it's not going to be his decision. He'll see what his people want him to do robotically. Real quick question.
We don't know that. We don't know that at all. Joe Biden does what Joe Biden wants. He is the president. This whole, he doesn't know what's going on, just doesn't coexist with he's clueless, but he's responsible. You got to pick one.
And I just don't know the answer to this, or if you do, but we know the Mazar-e Sharif.
He doesn't know the answer to anything.
Planes are still grounded, and we know the Americans are on board, but
we don't. I mean, as far as I know, I haven't seen any reports, any legitimate reports that there are Americans on board those planes. By the way, they're probably sitting in the airport, not actually still sitting on the planes.
State Department doesn't feel safe.
So I watched something or heard something, I forget, yesterday. But anyway, one of the Republicans was complaining, I think a Republican congressperson, complaining that these terrorists, we have to vet them better because these terrorists push their ways onto the airplanes being evacuated from Kabul. No, that didn't happen. There were thousands of Marines on those bases controlling every single person who got onto those flights. Just the vision of people pushing themselves onto cargo planes. No. Nobody was pushing their way on. Everybody was getting checked for identification.
With a plane that they haven't walked through, unlike the Karzai airport evacuation, where we saw hundreds of people sitting on a cargo jet, I'm sure haven't even been patted down. Having said
that is complete nonsense. There's no way he can be sure of that, and no. They would have been patted down multiple times by the time they got onto the cargo jet.
That.
By the way, all of these people not being patted down, what happened on the planes? Did any of the planes go down? Not a single one. So it's okay, Brian.
Are any people who are supposed to be on the Mazar-e Sharif private planes are going to be on these flights to Qatar? They say there's 200 there, and everyone will have passports and have tickets to their destination and visas. Do we know if any of these have been mixed and matched?
I heard him say it's unclear. Griff,
that's a great.
Yeah, I don't know where he's getting this 200 with passports deal. I don't know where he's getting that from. He's reading something, and I'm just unfamiliar with the report. But that is not what Abe Lincoln said yesterday.
It is unclear. So the U.S. official speaking on the condition of anonymity to Reuters wasn't sure about that. And it really...
Yes, everyone's not sure. Okay, so now we know it's Reuters, and we know that the guy, he's like, I don't know. But Brian's like, there's 200 of them, and they all have the right passports.
He underscores the significant
thank you, Griff.
Questions we have because we don't have a single U.S. official on the ground who could give us any of those answers.
That's the problem.
Right. Because we evacuated Afghanistan. Remember that thing you guys all wanted to do for years? It's done. Biden got it done.
And here, Griff, thank you very much. So the 200 the Taliban are going to allow to leave today are from the airport in Kabul. They've got to leave the airport in Kabul. So that suggests
we don't know. We don't know that. These are reports. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it here. Let's do this together, kids. Let's have some fun. Reuters. And we'll go, okay, so here's the first thing that pops up on Reuters. Blinken denies Taliban blocking Americans from leaving Mazar-e-Sharif. So Blinken, as of yesterday, said, no, they're not blocking any Americans. We don't know of any Americans. Let's search, though, and see if we can find that 200 Americans they're talking about. It would have been another... This is from this morning. Taliban interim government agrees to let foreigners leave Afghanistan. Right? Okay. Yep. That's okay. Go away. Charter flight set to depart from Kabul. So they've got the airport working again, theoretically, on Thursday. It's already happened. Right now, over there, it would be 6:19 p.m. Okay, so a lot of flights would have left by now, theoretically. 200 foreigners in Afghanistan, Americans among them, this is from Reuters, are set to depart from Kabul on Thursday after the new Taliban government agreed to their evacuation. The departure will be among the first international flights to take off from the Kabul airport since the Islamist militia seized the capital in mid-August, triggering the chaotic U.S.-led evacuation of 124,000 foreigners and at-risk Afghans. It's pretty impressive. Okay, so 2 days, blah, blah, blah. U.S. officials speaking to Reuters on condition of anonymity. The official could not say whether the American civilians and other foreign nationals were among people stranded for days in the northern city of Mazar-e-Sharif because their private charters had not been allowed to depart. So we don't know. So apparently there are some Americans, we don't know how many, but mostly foreigners. It's not 200 Americans. That's not what this says. Anyway, let's go back to the idiocy.
What about those people on the 6 planes up in...
Oh, Liberty's reporting that the charter flight left. Good, yay.
Mazar-e-Sharif, as depicted right there by the satellite picture. We don't know what's going to happen to them. Joe Biden said yesterday the international community is going to put pressure on the Taliban to allow the evacuation flights to resume. Well, good luck with that. But yesterday the Taliban said...
Yeah, good luck with that. You know, that the Taliban's been cooperating so far? And that 124,000 people got out already? But good luck with that.
Okay, before they change their mind. No more. Absolutely no more. They broke their promise, but that's the problem with what happens when you get in bed with terrorists. They break their promise.
Right? President Trump? By the way, Taliban not officially classified as terrorists by the U.S. government. Moving on.
Botched this entire thing. We did not get our American citizens out and our allies out on time. We pulled our military. We don't have the airports open there anymore. We don't have control of our weapons anymore. We can't even vet the people who are getting on these planes and even going to other countries. We have a southern border that's open. What if these planes do go to Saudi Arabia? Then they can take a flight down to Mexico and walk over our border. Also, the people on our planes that have come, we're getting mixed messages. You have Mark Milley, who says they are vetted before they come to America. But then you have people like Mark Green, the congressman from Tennessee, who's not sure about that, saying...
Yeah, well, he's not sure. But he's not involved in it in any way, facet whatsoever. You got Mark Milley, who's the Joint Chief of Staffs of all of the military, and he said, yeah, they're being vetted. So who are we going to go with? The guy who's actually involved and in charge of it all? Or the guy who just is angry from Tennessee?
That they're...
By the way, they try and get across the southern border. pretty good chance they get caught. You know those record numbers being caught at the southern border? Pretty good chance.
Be able to leave that full.
But if they're fluent in Spanish without an accent, they may get through.
Full control of the camp.
Oh, and if they have children with them. But yeah, the terrorists are going to fly to Saudi Arabia. First, the terrorists are going to get out. And then they're going to fly to Mexico.
They're able to leave in Ubers, and they can leave and not come back.
Right? Yeah. Who got them an Uber app on the way over? And by the way, there's at least 100 unaccompanied Afghan.
You can download Uber anywhere on the planet.
And minors now. Maybe they can play with the unaccompanied minors from our southern border. They're all in the same place on military bases.
That would be nice. I don't know that they're mixed, but yeah, sure. If the kids from two sides of the world can play with each other, that's beautiful. Imagine there's no Kevin. It's easy if you try. It was all last week.
Where we usually keep our military. So keep in mind this. This administration and the State Department wants...
Okay, whenever he says keep in mind this, it's good. And it's also wrong, but it's good. Here we go. What are we keeping in mind, Brian? Let's go back so that we can keep all of it together in our mind. We're going back 15 seconds, so we're going to have to listen to some of this again, and I apologize for that. We're almost done.
100 unaccompanied Afghan minors now. Maybe they can play with the unaccompanied minors from our southern border. They're all in the same place on military bases where we usually keep our military.
Oh, you have to think about that. He's doing the Sean Hannity. Where we usually keep, I don't know, our military. Well.
So keep in mind this. This administration and the State Department wants us to digest this, that we're not sure, even though these are retired military, some of the most successful and most efficient military experts that we have, to put together these private businesses, these private companies immediately to try to evacuate people because our government wouldn't. They say, well, we don't know who's on those planes. We don't know if those planes are weaponized. We don't know if there's something in the cargo is going to blow up. Excuse me. We watched that chaos at the Karzai airport.
I don't know what chaos is, but we did watch the cases. QAnons? We did watch the cases. Kids in cases? Oh, it makes sense then. Yeah. So the Afghan kids are in cases.
Military experts that we have to put together these private businesses, these private companies immediately to try to evacuate people because our government wouldn't. They say, well, we don't know who's on those planes. We don't know if those planes are weaponized. We don't know if there's something.
The government would. The people didn't want to be evacuated. The government was happy to cooperate evacuating people for months.
Then the cargo is going to blow up. Excuse me. We watched that chaos at the Karzai.
Chaos. We watched the chaos.
Airport with the Taliban surrounding it. We watched the people being crushed and threatened as they got through haphazardly. We know that the people that you put on those planes at the Karzai airport endangered.
Karzai, not Karzai. Because there was chaos at the Karzai. Rockin' the Karzai, rockin' the Karzai. Sherry don't like it.
Everybody, and many of which we still don't know who they are. And now.
Many of whom?
Now you're worried about 25 SIVs and 19 Americans on a jet that you're not.
We do know who they are. They're being vetted. That's why they're all not pouring into the country, except if they took an Uber, apparently. They can just leave. If they have Uber. Lyft, not being allowed. It's a corporate thing that...
Not sure about, and instead of trying to solve the problem, you say, you're not landing at an American base.
Right. With a phone, with a receiver like this.
You're not landing. Go find another country. What country says that about their own veterans and their own citizens in a terrorist country?
We don't know. A, they're not classified as terrorists. B, we don't know who these people are. We don't know what the vetting process what vetting process has occurred to these people leaving on these private charters. That's great. Do it. But some airports are set up for this. Some airports are not. They have been instructed, if you get out of the country, find an American consulate or embassy and begin the process. We can't just be allowing anybody into the country, remember? That was like 5 minutes ago.
Why is that acceptable?
Well, Brian...
Well, because we have consulates and embassies throughout the planet, and we do have friendly countries that are willing to cooperate, and international travel is unrestricted.
You know, we heard from Joe Biden 2 weeks ago. It's messy, and he wasn't kidding.
We have no control.
It's really messy untangling ourselves from Afghanistan.
Yeah, that's true.
But as Griff was talking a moment ago, the president and the administration, because their poll numbers are tanking, they're trying to change the page. They're going to be all about COVID today.
Don't let them.
But they keep saying we're not.
All about COVID today. Oh, oy vey. Got a buddy in the ER. He had to wait 12, 14 hours, and they finally figured out, come back in a couple of days. We'll put a stent in you because we don't have anybody available to that point. But hey, in the meantime, try not to die. And you look a little bit ashen. That's the medical term for it.
Not on the ground. We can't prevent flights from taking off. We're not on the ground, Jen Psaki said. Anthony Blinken said, without personnel on the ground, we can't verify the accuracy of the manifest.
As if they're proud of it.
We're not on the ground.
It's embarrassing.
Right. We got out of Afghanistan. Remember the thing all of you people were saying, we got to get out of there. Remember? No?
Aren't on the ground, and we're trying to turn the page, the administration is. In the meantime, you know, there's a reason why the New York Times no longer...
we're trying to end the war and move on with being America, and we did that.
Longer puts Joe Biden's approval rating on the front page or anywhere. They have not, according to the Media Research Center, they have not updated Joe Biden's approval rating since May.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because he's gone south. Why is that? Because so many people...
Why are we caring about an approval rating 6 months into a presidency? I know it's longer than that. I'm using hyperbole. Or as the lady on the tennis channel would say, hyperbole. Yesterday she said that Djokovic is, she said Novak, is his first name, the epitome of a tennis player.
In this country feel like, what is going on? We're heading down the wrong track. Greg Gutfeld sat down with the former president, Donald Trump. He was on his show last night and had this observation about the state of America today.
We're going to end with this observation and go on with our days, folks. I got to get moving here. Thanks for joining me for COVFEFE this morning. Let's just listen to a little bit of COVFEFE, and then we'll come back hopefully later today, and we'll cover just about all the COVFEFE coming out of Trump last night.
Listen.
Now we're at a time where, okay, there are no more mean tweets, and we have a really nice president, and the country is...
Why can't we have both?
...in the crapper. So who would you rather have?
Well, I don't know that he's a nice president. I'm not sure about that, but I can tell you.
I don't know that he's a nice president. What about your mean tweets? You were mean.
The country has never been more unsafe. We have...
Yeah, again, we talked about the Civil War. We talked about the Wild West. We talked about the 80s and the 90s where the murder rate was far higher than it is right now. Murder rate is up in some cities. Violent crime overall is down. Burglaries are non-existent. Home invasions, non-existent. Believe it or not, rapes down. In Texas, they're getting rid of rape altogether. Governor Abbott came up with the idea, hey, we don't have to worry about abortion from people being raped if we just don't rape. We just have to stop raping everybody. And by the way, in Texas, that's everybody. Everybody rapes. That was the, you know how you get that kid's book about everybody pooping? When they turn about 12 in Texas, they're all handed a book because everybody rapes. But Greg Abbott is changing all of that. So we're good.
People pouring in through our southern border, which everyone's forgetting about right now because of the travesty of Afghanistan. And
weren't we just talking about that? I guess we've forgotten about it. I don't know. I don't remember.
You look at the people coming in by the hundreds, by the thousands, and these are...
By the tens of thousands, actually. But okay.
Not the people necessarily that wanted the protection.
Right.
These are people. So are they terrorists?
These are not the people that wanted the protection. These are people. Are they terrorists? What?
How many terrorists are coming in? And they were aggressive, very aggressive at the plane, and they pushed their ways, their way onto the plane.
Holy crap! Trump is saying it too. So these aggressive terrorists in Afghanistan pushed their way onto the plane past our Marines. And the Marines are like, what are we going to do?
Yeah, you know what's so interesting? I think it's worked to the president's advantage not to be on social media. If you look at the other channels, they are dying.
He's talking about Trump, by the way.
And for anything Trump related, they had Mary Trump on at 8 o'clock. Nobody cares. We got major issues.
Nobody cares about anything Trump related right now. Let's talk more about Trump.
Here. They want President Trump and a tweet to be the focus. They want to get their eyes off this. And by the president not being on social media, and he needs to be on if he's going to win, and clearly he's running.
Okay, because you just said it was an advantage that he's not on social media, but now he needs to be on. But okay, granted, that was about 8 seconds ago. So things change, people. This is America. We move quickly.
It seems. But by him not being on,
I would normally describe this as Brian Kilmeade's thought process, but those words have literally never been uttered, and I don't know that they can make sense in any fashion.
He allows people to focus on...
I'm just going to use the word thinking out loud, but I'm using that term in the loosest form possible. But here comes the train of, I'm just going to say, here comes Brian Kilmeade's train.
This administration. And the more you focus, the more horrified you are. And not just Republicans, independents. 36% approval in independents. You keep that number, you don't keep the Senate, you don't keep the House.
Well, you say they're trying to turn the page. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Trump knows that for sure. Remember in 2016, Trump had the Senate and the House? And then lost the House in 2018, and then lost the Senate in 2020, and the presidency?
This page can turn. The history books will be open on this for a very long time.
I don't know what that means.
There are American strain.
They are really hitting heavy with the whole page turning thing this morning, though. Speaking of hitting heavy, I got to get ready to go. So we will see you guys later on today. Thanks for joining me. I am your Kevinly father. We will later today, I think, cover the rest of that interview. And if that's an example of what we have in store, it's Trump gold. Or it's actually Trump orange. It's fool gold. Did Lindell disappear? No, I think Lindell is this close to declaring bankruptcy. And I've been saying this now for weeks, guys. As well, the big news today is going to be either today or tomorrow probably that the DOJ is now suing Texas for the abortion laws that were just passed, anti-abortion laws, I should say. And the reasons may be what I originally pointed out last Friday, whatever day it was, that the Supreme Court said, yeah, go ahead and you do you, Texas. So we will see you guys in a little while. Have a great day. If I don't see you, enjoy your COVFEFE, everybody. Be good to yourself, be good to others, and most importantly, be good to me.